Hello again and welcome. Last episode, I spoke with instructional designer Amy about some of the legalities of copyright and how to avoid infringement. Moving on, in this episode, I will be continuing my conversation with Amy on where you can find references for copyright law and things to keep in mind as an instructional designer. Stay tuned to learn more. Are there any sources out there for reference on copyright law and regulations so we can be better informed and look into this a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, one of the main staples in copyright law, especially in the digital age that we're in, is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1998. But I look at the date on that. It's 1998. What has changed with technology and what we have access to since 1998. So
Yeah.
that makes there's the basis for it.
Yeah.
And then going to a place like Creative Commons, but ultimately it's if you have those big questions and it's really something that you're questioning, the finding somebody who has a degree in law, focusing on copyright law is going to be, that's going to be the best resource that you're going to have.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, at least now we know where to go look, especially for references whenever we have doubt whether or not we can use an asset. With that, is there anything else we should keep in mind with copyright and instructional design, especially because I feel like that's where a lot of this would come into play?
Having the awareness as we're, as instructional designers, that people have, they put their mark on these works of art, so for us to be able to reuse it, that we should be giving them credit, and that if we have a question about how to give them credit, or if it's covered under copyright, pretty much anything that's been created has copyrights. So we just need to make sure that we're mindful. And I think one of the biggest struggles is when we're given content from somebody else, another source, and having to make sure that we're doing what's right and that our client is doing what's right as well, to help us do what's in the best interest of all parties involved.
I heard you mention art a lot, and I think this is especially relevant for e-learning development, right? Where there's a lot of it's very media intensive. Does a lot of the stuff you talked about in terms of copyright law apply to, text research articles? So like if I'm designing a course on communication, right? And I'm thinking about techniques for communication, and I do some of my own independent research to build this training around it. Do the copyright laws that you've been discussing cover that as well? That type of
So
content?
if it's an original idea, so like written works such as that, it does cover. So copyright
Okay.
is written works also. So lectures, articles, books, musical compositions, any of that is also covered.
Yeah, because
So
I think as instructional designers, we do work a lot with media, but we also, of course, the teaching points, the research that we're gathering to, especially if we don't have a subject matter expert to collaborate with, if the responsibility is on us to do a lot of the research, or if even from our own experience and past expertise in a specific area. I mean, I'm sure we've been pulling from, people who have thought of their own original ideas and incorporating those. So I was just making sure that that would cover that too, and it sounds like it does, since
yeah,
those are
so
written works.
and we're really ultimately we're synthesizing a lot of information there when we're writing for, say, an e-learning course. We're taking this person's idea, we're adding our idea to it. So it's just when we get to taking a whole entire work of art and using it, and
Or written work.
written work too. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying.
Well, again, thank you, Amy, for sharing your insights on where you can find references for copyright law and things to keep in mind as an instructional designer when it comes to copyright. This wraps up our 5-Minute University series on copyright. Be sure to stay tuned for our next 5-Minute University topic and discussion. Thank you for listening in, and we hope you gain some insights. Until next time.